Hi everybody and welcome to English Digest. I'm Pat.
And I'm Erin.
Okay, so in this unit we're talking about a chart. This is a different kind of writing to some of those we've talked about in our previous units. We often describe a picture, we describe a situation, we talk about a bit of a choice, but here we're looking at an actual diagram, or in this case, a chart with information.
Right. It doesn't have any pictures on it, but you do learn a lot from it, and you can see how it's kind of divided into different sections so you know what you're looking at, when you're looking at it, and what you're going to do with that information.
Yeah, it's a way of presenting information in a way that's very simple and easy to understand.
Right.
And the activity here is to describe what the chart says and then use that information to make a choice, make a personal decision about something. And this is all about high school clubs.
Right. In high school, we called them clubs. In university, we had societies. I was in a couple. I was in, not in high school, but in junior high, I was in two bands. I was in normal band and jazz band. And then,
fancy.
Yeah, and then in high school, I was part of a club called SPEAK, which was an acronym that I can't remember the words for anymore. It was a group that had to do with sort of combating racism sort of thing. And
social, progressive, EAK, something.
We didn't live in a very multiracial city, and so there were one or two students in our high school that were black, and they faced quite a bit of discrimination, and so we kind of formed that group.
Cool.
And drama club for a year, and that's probably about it, to be honest. I did a lot of after-school stuff outside of school, but...
I was in the amazingly cool wargaming club. That made me super popular, where we would use the model soldiers we'd collected and painted to fight tabletop wars. And combats of various sorts. It was actually a lot of fun.
There you go. That's all that counts.
Yeah. I wasn't in the drama club because our school didn't actually have a drama club. I just did drama.
Right.
And there were only so many people in, and they would do so many plays, so you were in the plays and you rehearsed for plays. So I guess that was kind of like the club, but it was just rehearsing and being in the shows, less so much of the sort of hanging out. There would always be teachers there, and we would be pretty focused on what we were working on. So it wasn't just a club for the students as it more was with the wargaming thing. All right, so let's take a look at this particular exercise for this chart writing about high school clubs. Now, it's very important, as always, to read the instructions, make sure we know what we're doing, the number of words we can use, the number of paragraphs, and what we're expected to write in each one.
Right, because all of these things are going to give you a hint about how to write it. Now, don't be the cool kid who says, oh, I can just write what I want, because your teacher will send it back to you and say, do it again. Okay, so here we know that we're going to write an article of about 120 words divided into 2 paragraphs, so more or less 60 words in each paragraph. About that, maybe 50, 70, something like that.
We'll kind of mention that here because that could be significant. So our magazine, it does give solid instructions for each paragraph. In the first one, we just need to describe the chart in detail. Now, with some other graphs, like bar graphs or pie graphs or line graphs, you might need to understand the overall information in that graph and draw conclusions from the way the data is presented.
Right.
This chart is just a simple chart. It gives you information of facts. There's no real analysis you have to do. So for the first part, in paragraph 1, the information is all there. You just have to put it into sentences.
Right.
And we've got the names of the clubs, we've got where the clubs meet, we've got some details about the clubs, an extra line about when they all meet up and so on. So all you really need to do is just figure out how best to get that into sentences.
Right, and to keep it under about 60 words.
Yeah, to not go into too much. We will talk about that a bit more as we get into our first paragraph in detail, but that is the idea of the first. What about the second?
Well, the paragraph 2 is going to require more thought. As we usually do in these kind of things, we want you to sort of include some information about yourself, maybe a choice that you want to make, and that's what you'll be doing in paragraph 2. So when you write it, you have to be choosing which club you would prefer to join, and you need to give your reasons why you would want to do that. And now, that will also include reasons that you maybe don't want to do the other two. So,
sure.
Yeah, you're kind of writing more personal reasons instead of focusing on the actual content. You're writing why you would or why you would not choose one thing or another.
Yeah, now, as Erin said, it includes personal reasons, so everyone's is going to be different. But a good thing you can do with chart writing is use the information in that chart to kind of help inform your decision to show whoever's marking your work that you've read the chart and you've used it and you understand the different meanings and the information that's given there. The most obvious example, for the photography club, you need to bring your own camera. They don't give you a camera of your own. Is this going to be a problem? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't.
Right. Okay, so the first paragraph, like we said earlier, you're just going to use more simple factual writing. But in the second paragraph, you're going to use the first person because you're talking about yourself. Now, we'll mainly use the present tense with a bit of future tense sentences because you're going to talk about why you want to join this group right now, but what might happen in the future when you actually do it, that sort of thing.
So let's get into the first paragraph. Now, the introduction for the paragraph is super easy. You just give a one-sentence summary of what is the chart, what's it about, what's in it. So it's information about high school clubs. You then go on to present that information. But when you're doing this paragraph, you need to think about word economy, okay? It's clear the second paragraph is going to be more interesting. It's going to require personal ideas, a choice, some reasons, an argument, something like that. So we don't want to use up too many words describing the chart. We need to find ways to get all that information in as few words as possible, and that means avoiding repetitions.
Right.
Okay, for example, don't write the guitar club meets on Wednesdays from 3 to 5 in the music room, and then the cheerleading club also meets on Wednesdays from 3 to 5, and then the photography club also meets from 3 to 5. It's repetition. It's not very interesting. It just says the same thing 3 times.
Right.
You can just put all the clubs meet on Wednesdays from 3 to 5 p.m. You've saved a lot of words. You've saved a lot of time. You've covered it all in a very sort of effective, efficient way.
Right. Now, the information is kind of grouped so that you can make these repetitions kind of less common. So, like Pat said, we have one star here on the chart that says at the bottom, the clubs meet every Wednesday from 3 to 5 p.m. It's kind of already given you that sentence. It also includes the locations, so it says exactly where the locations are. So instead of sort of writing 3 different sentences, you can use conjunctions and other words to kind of put them together in a shorter way to say where they are. And kind of the same thing with the notes as well. But what you do need to make sure you cover is which clubs are mentioned. We have 3 of them. When and where they meet, and the important notes about them. Now, as you can see, that's all of the information in the chart.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you can do that, 60 words, I would say, would be the maximum. If you can get it in under that, more like 50, then great with the introductory sentence, because then we need to move on to the real meat of this writing assignment, the second paragraph. So for this one, you need to make your choice between the 3 clubs and give reasons.
Right.
Now, these include, as we said, reasons for choosing one and possibly reasons for not choosing the others. So don't just say, I like this one the best, and that's your only reason. Use the chart, use your own opinions to give some details that support your answer.
Right.
So you can start off and brainstorm for this. And to brainstorm, you can do a short list of pros and cons, which is the same as saying advantages and disadvantages for each of those clubs. So let's look at the guitar club.
Okay, so the pros of the guitar club, these are the good points. You get your own guitar, so you don't have to bring your guitar. You got one there for you. If you like music, this is perfect for you.
It's a pro, yes.
And if you kind of find out you're good at it and you really enjoy it, maybe you'll meet other people that you can play music with, join a band, band sort of thing. And it's a good way of making friends.
Yeah, even if you're bad at it, you can still join a band. Just play punk music because it's simpler.
All right.
Okay, so cons. If you don't like music, then the guitar club just
Probably
won't
not for
be
you.
for you. You might feel the guitar club is too noisy and you'd prefer to learn guitar on your own with one teacher rather than be in a room full of people all playing the guitar. So therefore, maybe you'll have a problem of there being too many students and not enough teachers.
Right.
We don't know this for sure, but it could be a reason why someone thinks, no, you know what? I'm going to learn guitar on a one-on-one from a professional teacher and not try and learn it as part of a group because I want more personal attention and feedback.
Right. Okay, well, let's look at the cheerleading squad. There are some pros here, too. So if you look at the notes, you'll see that there's bi-weekly practice on weekends. So you don't just meet on Wednesdays. You also meet on the weekends. That means you'll improve faster.
Yep.
And it could mean that you kind of make friends with the other people, and then you have people to spend time with on the weekends, so it's more social.
Yep.
Now, if you enjoy cheerleading,
dance or
dance, you have
anything like that.
An outgoing personality, or you want to become more outgoing sort of thing, and go to sports games and show support in that way, it's a great thing to do.
Yeah, now on the other hand, if you don't really like sport, if you don't really like cheering, and you don't like a lot of people looking at you, then cheerleading is maybe not your best idea.
Right.
You could also have to turn this down if you're not free for weekend practice. Maybe you're too busy. And also, if you actually want to play the sport, then you want to play. You don't want to be in the cheerleading side. Cheerleaders also don't always get to watch the games because they have to kind of look at the audience, the crowd, and react with them. So if you really like sport and you want to play it or actually watch it, then the cheerleading club might, even though it sounds as though it could be good, you'll be around the sport, maybe you don't like it enough because you prefer to do other things.
Right. Okay, so the last one is the photography club, and there's some good pros here. Obviously, if you're interested in photos or sort of the way photos are made, sort of... We don't really do printed photos anymore, but...
There are techniques that you can learn.
The techniques
but there are techniques you can learn today. I mean, in today's world with sort of different apps, filters, you know, the ways that people use their smartphones and so on to take photos.
Right.
Yeah, there's stuff.
Yeah, now we see in the location that you don't just meet in a classroom, you also go outdoors. So if you're interested in seeing more of nature and kind of getting up and about with your club, this one will kind of take you around to different places, show you different lights, how to take pictures of different landscapes, etc. And so that's another good thing. It kind of gets you out and about. And one other thing is that you can learn from other people. I mean, some people pick up cameras really quickly and they kind of have a natural talent for it. And if
and you can experiment. You can try a lot of things yourself. And it's maybe easier to just learn from lots of people than it is to learn from one specific teacher.
Right. Yeah, so there's a lot of different reasons. And plus you get to take photos of interesting things and see interesting things.
Put them on your blog and your Facebook and Instagram and so on.
Yeah.
Now, the cons for this, the disadvantages, maybe you don't like the idea of going outside into nature. Maybe that just puts you off.
Mosquitoes.
Maybe you just feel like, well, if other people are that much better than me, it's not going to be too much fun. Or you just don't really enjoy taking photos that much. So there's lots of personal ones. But the big one is the one in the chart. You need your own camera. Okay.
Right.
This means if you don't have a camera, then maybe you're going to be left behind if you've only got maybe a smartphone camera. Maybe you'll need to spend a lot of money that you don't have to get a proper fancy camera. You know, your parents may not be able to afford it. You probably won't be able to afford it. So that could be what we call the deal breaker.
Right.
Here's something that's going, okay, if I need my own camera, I can't do that right now. I just cannot afford it.
Okay, well, you guys might have your own ideas for these. There are plenty of things, and we're not mind readers, so you can come up with some ideas for yourself, but this will give you a good basis, some ideas of what you could mention, and we've also shown you how to use the chart to sort of implement some ideas from that as well. But we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a minute to talk more about these articles.
Hi guys, welcome back. So we've brainstormed some good ideas for choosing which club you prefer. Let's look at a structure and outline and kind of follow the writing sample we have in our magazine to show how we've sort of put the ideas together. So we know where we need to start. We need these simple sentences to describe the chart and what's in it. So paragraph 1 is pretty simple, and whichever one you choose in paragraph 2, you're always going to basically take the same approach for paragraph 1.
Right.
So this is from writing sample 1. And the introduction, which is our topic sentence, this chart introduces 3 new clubs on my school website.
Okay.
So we've got a bit of extra information about where the chart is, but we know exactly in that sentence what it does and what we're looking at.
Right. Okay, so next you want to talk about, you can talk about your time here because the time is the same for all of them for the most part. So the first part of your outline, you can write down your time. You could say all 3 meet on Wednesday afternoons from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And like we said, there's no repetition there. We didn't have to write all the groups over and over and over again. We just included them in one simple sentence.
Okay, then we take the clubs one at a time and find out information and write what the chart says. So the guitar club meets in the music classroom and free guitars are available.
Okay, that's nice and simple. Then you do the next one on the list, which is the cheerleading squad. So you can just say the cheerleading squad meets in the gym with extra practices every other weekend.
Okay, and then we have the third club. And instead of just writing the photography club, blah, 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 and I'll explain why we've done the third one in a different way in a second, it says, besides meeting in classroom 2B, the photography club also goes on excursions. Now, the reason we didn't write the guitar club, blah, 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 the cheerleading club, blah, 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 the photography club, blah, blah, blah. Now, we could do that, and it's not wrong.
No.
But writing the third one in a slightly different way does make the article a little more interesting to read.
Right.
So that's why we've just phrased it differently.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with doing that.
No, but like we said, repetition can make your writing a little bit boring. So spice it up a little bit, change things around. Now, for paragraph 2, you start your topic sentence with your choice and your reason why. So the topic sentence will be the club that you pick. So here we've written, I've decided to join the guitar club. Nice and simple.
Super perfect, simple topic sentence. We know exactly what we're on about.
Right.
So then we give supporting details, the reasons why we're, in this case, we're ruling out, we're saying we're not choosing the other 2. So A, I ruled out the cheerleading squad since I can't attend anything on weekends.
There you go.
So that's using the information from the chart. We know the cheerleading squad meets then, but that's going to be a problem. If somebody can't do that, maybe their studies, maybe they have other stuff going on, then that's it. You probably shouldn't join that club because you won't be able to go to all their sessions and commit fully, so they won't have you on the team.
Right. Then there's B. We've changed up the structure of this sentence a little bit as well. It says, the photography club sounds cool, but I can't afford to buy my own camera. So it's not necessarily that you don't want to go to this club, but you're kind of limited by your resources. So you've used the information in the chart to say, no, I don't have the money to buy a camera, so I want to do this club, but right now I can't. Maybe sometime in the future you could join it. And then we finish off with the conclusion, which basically supports your topic sentence and gives you the reasons why you are going to choose that one in particular. And for the outline, the guitar club suits my schedule best and is affordable.
Yeah, referring to the fact that students get their own guitars. So again, calls back to the chart and mentions the information there. So of course, the outline is going to have more details, more transitions. You're going to make the sentences a bit longer and link them up properly to turn it into a full essay. Make sure you follow logical steps in your answers. Give your reasons, so don't sort of jump off and go somewhere completely different. And now it is easy to include too much information not related to the point. So the outline is a great idea because it keeps your writing to the point, helps you cut out stuff. So if you realize you've written too much, you go, well, I've got a sentence or two here that wasn't really in my outline. So maybe those are the ones that I need to get rid of.
Right.
Also, you go, well, actually, I've come up short. I've only written 100 words. Let's go back to my outline. Oh, okay, that I can put more details on that sentence or that part because I didn't really cover that I put in my outline.
Okay. Well, it's time to read the samples. So we're going to start with writing sample 1. And I will start that right now.
Go ahead.
Writing sample 1. My high school posted a schedule introducing 3 new school clubs on its website. All 3 meet on Wednesday afternoons from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. The guitar club takes place in the music classroom. There's no need for newcomers to invest in a guitar, as free guitars are available for use. The cheerleading squad meets in the school gym. On top of Wednesday practice, members have to meet every other weekend as well. The photography club meets in classroom 2B, but it also goes on outside excursions. Cameras are not supplied, so participants have to provide their own. I'd like to join a school club, and I've decided to join the guitar club. My busy schedule prevents me from attending anything on the weekends, which rules out the cheerleading squad. The photography club sounds cool, but I can't afford to buy my own camera right now. When it comes down to it, the guitar club suits my schedule best and is affordable, as it provides me with a guitar.
Okay, so there we go. That is our article. And we follow the outline very nicely. We can include all the points. We add a few more details. We use a few more interesting words and phrases and things like that to make it read more like a really nice composition piece. We don't want to just go fact, 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 fact.
Right.
We've made it a little more nice to read. So let's look at some of those words and phrases we put in.
Okay.
So we've got schedule first, which I will say in the UK often gets pronounced as schedule with a sort of soft SC sound. They're both okay, but you'll probably be more used to saying schedule.
That's right.
A schedule is a plan for carrying out a process or a procedure or for organizing something and generally gives a list of intended events and times. Now, as we see later, because we do use it twice in different ways, it can be used to mean a person's own schedule, which is where they have to be and what they have to do when they have free time and so on. And we can use it to describe how busy a person is. So in the second paragraph, the writer says, my busy schedule prevents me from attending anything on the weekends. So that just means that person is a busy person. They have a lot of things to do, specifically on the weekends, which is going to stop them going to clubs.
Right. Okay. Well, we also saw the word newcomer. So newcomer, that's a person who's joining a group or doing something in an organization or an activity for the very first time. So if you join the guitar club, but you've never even picked up a guitar before, you're just interested in seeing how to do it and to get started, you would be called a newcomer.
Now, when we describe the cheerleading squad, we say they meet every other weekend. In the chart, it says bi-weekly. Now, bi-weekly is one of those odd and sometimes confusing words because some people think it means twice a week and some people think it means every other week.
Right.
So it does actually work for both.
Yeah, it means both, actually.
Yeah, we had to check on this one what it meant. And of course, bi-weekly practice on the weekends could mean Saturday and Sunday, but it actually here is supposed to mean every other weekend, and that means one weekend you meet and the next you don't. So we can use it with all the other kind of words like that, every other day, every other week, every other month, every other class, like every other class we have a test, and so on. It just means you kind of alternate back and forth. Yes for one, no for the next.
Okay, well, we also talked about excursions. The photography club goes on excursions. Now, this is a fun thing to do. An excursion is just like a short trip, maybe like a day trip or an afternoon trip, a short little journey, usually done to kind of relax or see something interesting. It's done for pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the photography club again, we have the word participants. A participant is someone who is joining in a particular activity or event. And we can also use the verb participate. You participate in a particular activity or event. So there's the relationship between the words participant and participate.
Right. And lastly, we used the phrasal verb rule out. And we said we ruled out the cheerleading squad. Now, when you rule something out, you eliminate it or you exclude it from something. So maybe you know you can't go to cheerleading squad, so you have to rule it out. You have to sort of eliminate it from or take it off of your choices.
Yeah, you're not going to consider that thing anymore.
Right.
Okay, like if you're doing a job interview and you go, okay, this person doesn't have enough experience, we're going to rule that person out. So let's take a look at the other writing sample and see how that person has chosen and why. Writing sample 2. This chart shows some of the social clubs that students at AMC school can join. It includes the locations where the clubs meet and some notes about the clubs. We also see that all the clubs meet on Wednesdays from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. The guitar club practices in the music classroom and provides guitars for its members to use. The cheerleading squad gets together in the gym and has extra practice every other weekend. The photography club meets in classroom 2B, but also goes outside to take photos. For this club, members must bring their own cameras. I've decided to try out for the cheerleading squad. I like the fact that they meet on weekends, as this makes the club seem more sociable. I think it'll be fun to practice on weekends, as we can go out for meals together afterward as well. Also, having more practices means we'll get better more quickly. The photography club sounds interesting, but I don't have my own camera right now, and I can't afford one. I'm no good at music, so I'm not really interested in the guitar club. So same approach there. For the first paragraph, we've just got all the information out, tried not to repeat it too much, just pretty simple. And they've gone for the cheerleading squad. They like the idea that they get to practice on weekends and get together and be more of a team, which you would need to be. There's a lot of trust involved in cheerleading about lifting and carrying and catching people. So you do need that team spirit. So that obviously appeals to our writer. Now, a phrase we saw in that one that's good to look at is to try out for something. Now, this is an attempt to show that you have the skills or abilities to join something, usually a sports team or a similar group. And these teams will hold tryouts, all one word as a noun, to see if newcomers are good enough to be on the team. And you usually have to demonstrate your skills in some kind of test or trial situation. You'll be under a little bit of pressure. Can you do those things when they want you to do them? And can you prove that you're good enough?
Right. Another word that we can kind of use for that, especially in terms of acting, is an audition.
Yes.
Yes. So that's a bit more of a formal word for tryout. Yeah. We also saw the adjective sociable. Now, it's related to social, so you know it's going to have to do with people and kind of getting out and having some social interaction and being friendly with other people and getting to know people and talking to them and not sort of being shy and sitting in a corner and kind of doing your own thing. Now, a sociable person is just very friendly and willing to spend time with others and to make that time more enjoyable.
Yeah, so it can describe both a person and a thing, like an event. Okay, well, that is the end. We've seen the two samples there, and we've seen different choices, but broadly the same approach. So that's the idea here. Look at the approach and follow that to get the first part down. Describe the chart simply, effectively, efficiently, not repeating yourself too much, and then brainstorm it up and make your choice with a good topic sentence and supporting details. Hope that's been useful for you, and that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for listening. For English Digest, I'm Pat.
And I'm Erin.
Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.